Hey everybody, how you doing? So I want to talk about some of the first things that you need to do to get started with becoming a home builder or building a spec home. And the first, one of the very first things is finding a lot. One thing to be prepared for is that you may have to end up spending some money out of pocket in the beginning. And if you do end up moving forward with that particular property, and when you're at the point in which you're putting a cost breakdown together and you're about to get financing for your build, you can then take what those costs were and you can add those into the financing, into the cost breakdown, so that you can basically pay yourself back for what you had to pay for out of pocket. For example, soil testing. Depending on where you're building the home, and I would say this is less crucial if you're going to be building in a developed subdivision, because typically a developed subdivision, there's other homes being built in there. You could talk with other people that are having their home built or with other builders and ask, hey, have there been any soil issues with with your build? And number two, typically a subdivision, they've added dirt there, they've moved dirt around, they've sometimes gotten soil engineering done already, they've had to do some of that testing. So I would say it's definitely less crucial in a developed subdivision. But when you're in an area where it's just raw land, it's a wooded lot or it's a farm field, then you might want to find out what's beneath the ground and kind of know for sure what's beneath the ground before you buy a property. I mean, if you buy a property and then you get to a certain point, the excavator is going to come out to do the site work or dig the hole, and you find out that it's unbuildable, it's too late to turn back. You've already bought the property. You can't really do anything about it. So if you know that ahead of time before you buy the property and you make your offer on the property contingent upon verifying that the soil is going to support a foundation and a house, even though you're paying for that out of pocket, you still know that you're able to build the house on it, or you can't, and that's as far as you get. So if that does happen, where the soil test comes back and there are negative or bad results that determine that you're not going to be able to build there, unfortunately, you do still have to pay that cost out of pocket. That's something that the seller of the lot is usually not paying. So it sucks that you do have to pay that out of pocket and then move on and find another lot. But it sucks a lot less than if you were to find that out on the day that they're digging the hole and you have now all these crazy unexpected expenses that are going along with bad soil issues, or it's just determined that you just can't build there. So that's one of the first things there. You'll want to find out if there is a survey for the property. So if it's in a subdivision, there's probably more of a chance that there's a subdivision plat, which shows all of the lots in the subdivision, but yet still shows the lot that you're looking at, and it shows if there are any easements on the lot. It shows if, sometimes what the setbacks are for what you have to be set back off of the front lot line, rear lot line, side lot lines. And it'll also show if there are utility easements there. And then ultimately it'll show what the dimensions of the lot are, because you want to make sure if you're moving forward with purchasing a lot that the lot is going to fit the type of home that you want to build on the lot. And maybe you're looking somewhere where lots are very slim pickings and you found a lot that's in a good location, and it's just kind of a narrow lot. So you've determined that you're going to have to do a two-story build there. Maybe you weren't, sold one way or another on whether you're going to be doing a ranch or a two-story, but the lot in this case is going to, somewhat dictate what you're going to build there. But at the very least, you're going to know, okay, if the survey shows that the lot is 80 feet wide, and you can see the easements on the lot, and it calls for a 10-foot side yard on each side of the home. Well, now you know that your house can't be any wider than 60 feet. So that's something that you would want to ask the seller if they've got a survey for the lot. And even if it's not in a subdivision, they still may have a survey for it. If there is no survey for the property, you can look online. Typically there's going to be an online map book for your county or city or village or town. So for example, I'm in Racine County, which is located in Wisconsin. So if I Google Racine County map book, I will get an online mapping system that comes up where I can basically go and I can find that lot that I'm looking at. I can click on it, and I can click on different filters as well. And I can click on a filter so that it shows all wetlands that are in the area, and it would show if there are any wetlands on this particular lot. If this lot's wooded, you can click on a filter that is called environmental corridor or something along those lines, and that will tell you if those trees that are on that property are protected, that you wouldn't just be able to cut down whatever you want there. You've got to kind of get permission for what you need to do there. You can click on DNR wetlands, and that'll show anything that's registered by the DNR as wetlands. So that's something that you would want to know and can affect where you put the house, and if you can put the house where you want it, and if a house will even fit on that lot. But then there are also tools that you can use. There's like a tape measuring tool that you can use to basically measure what the width of the lot is. And sometimes, depending on all of these online mapping systems are different. So you may be able to actually click on something. They may actually have a survey that's been uploaded to the site to where you can actually see the survey for the lot. So that would be a resource to definitely check out your lot, even before you go and check it out in person. Because you just want to know what you're getting into before you buy it. You don't want to get to a certain point where you've purchased the lot and then you figure out that you're not going to be able to do anything with it. That would be pretty devastating. You'll also want to check and see what utilities are there at the lot. Is there sewer, water, gas and electric? Are they available? And determining, and I've got other videos too that go into more detail with this. I've got a course that's coming out that explains all of this in detail, and I've also got a consulting membership site that has resources to be able to specifically investigate and get costs for all of these things. But you're going to want to determine if those utilities are there and what the costs are going to be, because you could find a great lot in a great location and there is sewer, but the sewer's down the road and you would have to extend the sewer main to the lot, and it's going to cost $40,000 to do that. Well, now that could just blow your budget there, and you're not able to move forward with the lot. But again, that's something you want to know before you purchase the lot and get to the point in which you're building on the lot and you're ready to hook up for the sewer. And at that point, you're pretty much just going to have to pay whatever the cost is to get that done. And now that's maybe eating up all of the profit that you're going to make on the house. So those are things that you want to be aware of before you're purchasing the lot. So that's one of the first steps when you're going to be building a spec home, is finding that lot, and those are some of the things to check for. Now, the other thing that's going to go along with that is finding a home plan, and you're going to be able to somewhat determine what you're going to build size-wise, style-wise, and price point, based upon what else is going on in that area. So if you find a lot that's in a subdivision and there are other new homes that are being built in that subdivision, it's going to be a lot easier, because you can go and find out what those homes are. You can see if it's a ranch or a two-story. You can find out what the square footage is. If there are ones that have recently sold in there, you can find out what those sales prices are. And now that's going to tell you that, hey, you should probably build a two-story around 2,300 square feet and keep that sales price to right around $550. Or if I'm buying a lot in a subdivision and over half of the houses or 75% of the houses in that subdivision are ranches, and they're right around 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. I know that sells. I know that works in that neighborhood. That's probably what I'm going to try to target. And better yet, if you can find homes that have recently sold in there, that'll kind of tell you what you need to be priced at as well. And the reason that you want to know what type of home you're going to be building, what the size is, what the style is so that you can find a floor plan. You can go on to, eplans.com or architecturaldesigns.com, and you can find a plan that matches the criteria of what's being built in there. You can get that plan and have that turned into a full set of blueprints. You're going to want to do that so that you can get to where you have a full set of blueprints, and now you're able to send that blueprint out and get quotes, because you want to know what your build cost is going to be to build that particular home. Because once you've got your lot identified and you know what the cost of the lot is, and you've got your house style, your house plan somewhat verified there as well, and you can send that out and get bids and know what your build cost is going to be, well, now you know what your all-in total is going to be. You know what your lot is, you know what your build cost is, you've got an idea as to what you want to sell for based upon what other homes in that area are selling for, and now you're kind of on your way. I realize I'm not getting super detailed into everything that you need to do with these steps that we've talked about, but again, I've got other resources for that. Just kind of want to give, so if you're just wondering, hey, what are some of the first things that I would need to do if I want to build a spec home, these are the first couple of steps. The other thing that is going to go along with this is, once you've got an idea, and this would be before you even send out the blueprint and get bids and get an exact build cost, is you've identified a lot in a neighborhood, you know what other houses in that neighborhood are selling for. You can go to a bank, and you're going to want to go to a smaller local bank or credit union. So a bank that only has a few branches in the area. You don't want to do a Wells Fargo or a Chase Bank. They are typically not going to be doing construction loans, and especially if you're going to be building a spec and getting a construction loan. So that's something that you can also do, is try to find a bank that does construction loans and talk with that bank and find out what they are going to require from you in order for you to be able to get a construction loan. Because once you've got your build cost and you've got your lot, or what lot you want to buy, you're going to have to give the bank a cost breakdown, the blueprint for the home. So the cost breakdown is basically, that's going to be the budget form that has all of the line items like framing and lumber and plumbing and electric. You've got dollar amounts for all of those that you've gotten bids from the contractors for, and you've got a total cost, and that's basically what you're asking the bank to borrow, is what that total build cost is going to be. And if you're going to finance the lot with that, so you're going to wait to buy the lot until you close on the construction loan, then they're also going to need the accepted offer of the lot and to know what the lot price is. So those are things that if you're talking to the bank and finding out what you need to do in order to get a construction loan or get a construction loan and purchase the lot at the same time, now okay, this is what I'm going to need down, and typically you're going to need about 25% down. That's going to be about the dollar amount that's pretty typical as to what a bank is going to require from you in order to give you a construction loan to build a spec home. So if you can talk to the bank and find out what their requirements are going to be from you, along with what their down payment's going to be, now you've got that information as well. So now, once you do get your blueprint bid out and you know what your exact build cost is, and you know what lot you're going to be moving forward with, you've already got things ready with the bank so that you can give the blueprint, you can give the lot information, and you can give the cost breakdown to the bank. So that's the big three. Those are the big three items that you would need to do right from the get-go. If you're thinking about, like, hey, you know what, I want to build a spec home, or maybe you're kind of somewhat in the industry and you've had people approaching you and asking, hey, can you build a house for me? Because it's a great market, and there's, not as many, there's a ton of people out there that want to build, and there's still room and need for other builders. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, what are those first things that I would need to do? I don't really know where to start at all. those are the 3 things that you can explore and start getting into, and that's going to give you a pretty good start. So that's all I've got for this video. I did mention that I do have a consulting service, and I've got details for that in the detail of the video. I've got a link so that you can check that out and join. And that's going to do it for this one. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you on those. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Take care. If you don't subscribe, please do so. Hit the little bell for notifications. Pass this channel along to a friend if somebody is thinking about starting what I'm talking about here. Okay, that's it. Take care.